My father would show us like a little touch of his business. In middle school, he would have us sell DVDs for him, which was a lot of fun because my brother and I, this was our first introduction to movies and our interest in film. And we would sell one movie for $3 and two for $5. That was our deal. And it was a big hit. The whole school would buy DVDs from us all the time, the teachers, even the principal at one point. My name is Nathaniel Adrian Del Valle. I was born and raised in Chicago in the city. I grew up in the north side. My mother and my father had my brother and I at a very young age. My mom was 17 and he was 19. And my brother and I are twins. We're identical twins. The best way to sum it up is that we never had our own identity. We were always known as the twins. We didn't even have names. Nobody in the family called us Nathaniel and Dathan. They always called us the twins. One of the twins coming. We're the twins. So only my mom called us by our names. We lived in a small, very, very small apartment. It was a 2-bedroom. And we had one bedroom turned into like a home office for my mother because she needed a place to work when she was searching for jobs and all. So we pretty much only used one bedroom. And we got this big bed from IKEA, which was pretty cool. And we all shared the big bed. So that was pretty much us growing up. We had a nice little lifestyle going there. My mom wasn't home much because she was always working or looking for work. So it was pretty much my grandma and my brother and I. And we would just spend the days cleaning and watching reruns of I Love Lucy and like the Monkees. And my grandma used to clean houses up in like the suburbs and like the rich, like where Michael Jordan used to live. So she used to clean houses, and some lady's chandelier fell on her, and it was a very heavy like steel chandelier thing, yeah. So it fell on her, and my grandma broke her neck and broke her hand, her left hand. And I remember seeing pictures. She would pretty much feed my brother and I with a broken hand and a neck brace on. So it's pretty impressive. I mean, she's a very, very tough woman, I would say. Not a chandelier could even bring her down. It was probably 5th grade when I realized that I watched a lot of movies growing up, and I knew a lot of movies that a lot of kids didn't, that my brother and I realized that we knew a lot about movies. So we pretty much on our free time, we'd go like on IMDb, and we would just pretty much study, but not voluntarily study. It was just kind of whenever I watched a movie, I would just like to research it real quick and like check it out. So we would memorize like names and dates and all these films so quickly. It was just kind of a normal thing to us, but it was never a clear thing that, hey, look at, we're studying film, we love film, I want to pursue a career in film. It was just a personal interest. For the first 2 years of high school, I went to Lincoln Park High School. I grew up with a lot of lower class Latinos and African Americans within the neighborhoods and within the family and within my elementary and middle school. But when I went to Lincoln Park, it was a lot of more white that I was able to see, which was interesting because I only really saw that in downtown when everybody was wearing suits and all. But I also got to see a lot more how ungrateful these kids were, how great lifestyles they had. Like their parents were rolling up in Benzes, picking them up and all, and they were always complaining at school, and they were complaining. And it was just interesting. It was interesting to see that they wanted to have kind of like the taste of the lifestyle that I grew up with, like on the streets and all that, which I think it's kind of dumb. I wouldn't think you would want to go back. Why would you step back, you know? Like, their lifestyle was a lot cooler and a lot more amazing for me, but it wasn't something necessarily I wanted to live. But at the same time, I knew if I were in their shoes, why would I want to be on the streets doing stupid stuff, you know? So after the first 2 years of high school at Lincoln Park, we got this thing in the mail about this program at DiGravio University. DiGravio was probably the best thing that's happened to me in high school. It was great. I made great friends, and there were a lot more opportunities within media that I guess I got interested in with web graphic design. I was designing logos and like t-shirts and making websites, but I wasn't interested in coding or anything. I always still had my interest in film. And Posse was the first thing which introduced me to Middlebury. What happens with Posse, they said that we got nominated, and they started with like 2,500 kids. I did the second round, and then I got accepted to the third round. They told me to pick my top 3 schools on their list. And I didn't know anything about college. I didn't know anything about schools. None of my family went to college. So the only one I heard of was Cornell. So I put, okay, Cornell number 1. And then they had Pomona. I was like, oh, wait, Pomona's in California. So I was like, okay, I like California. I'll do that. It's closer to film. I asked them, I'm like, which ones have like a film program? They're like, oh, I think Middlebury does. So I was like, okay, cool, Middlebury. So I put Middlebury as number 3, which was my last option. But then it turns out by the last round, they said I was chosen as a applicant for Middlebury College, but not the other 2. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll see how far this could get me. And the last round was 25 kids, and they nailed it down to 10 from there. So you have to stand out from the 25 kids. And I ended up getting it. I've always loved film, but at the same time, my parents didn't really like that because they knew I was going to be unemployed and living in their basement for a while. So, and we didn't even have a basement, which was worse. So I'd probably be back to sharing the bed with my mom.